And it is time once again for another AEW Dynamite review here on the MrWarrenHayes Show. Hello and welcome. I'm Warren. We are going to be breaking down the August 2025 edition of AEW Dynamite, essentially the go-home Dynamite for Forbidden Door. Hope you're all having a lovely week so far. Hope things are going your way. Hope you're full of joy and great fuzzy feelings, because I'm not. When I'm thinking about last night's Dynamite, it's more like curdling sentiments of disappointment, frustration, and regret. How about that? I didn't like last night's Dynamite. This is 2 Dynamites in a row where I kind of shrug my shoulders and go, this wasn't very good. And, as I'm sitting down here getting ready, I'm like, look, I don't have much to say about this episode, because I feel like, everything can either be glossed over very quickly or just like scraped at. The things that scraped at deserve a little more attention, but I feel like there's a lot of things you can just glaze over, and it's like, well, we're heading into Forbidden Door. And so I'm sitting here, basically what I'm trying to say here is that I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, well, this is not going to take time. I don't want to waste the viewers' time, the listeners' time, by going off on incredibly long rants about minute stuff that happened on the Dynamite last night. I'm going to keep it to big picture stuff. But then again, knowing me, I might just go like 3 hours on this, and hopefully not, probably not. I've got a busy day ahead of me, but still the point stands. Like, here I am saying, oh, well, we'll get through this quickly. And then it turns out, no, I will not get this done quickly. I'm just going to spend a lot of time on this. Look, let's go through our usual structure where we talk about the Dynamite, business side of things very, very quickly as far as attendance goes. We were in Glasgow, in Scotland, at the Oval Hydro, the venue debut. 7,649 tickets were distributed. That's very good. That's a great house for AEW. Again, this is going to be, between this and Forbidden Door essentially selling out. I mean, that show's going to sell out. I hope everyone sort of has come to grips with that. Forbidden Door in a couple of days is going to be sold out. Between that and last night's Dynamite / Collision tapings, this was a great another great trip to the UK for AEW, coming home with their coffers full, with the UK fans showing up and dishing out. Like, there is a taste for AEW wrestling in the United Kingdom. Don't let yourself be fooled on that. But yeah, and that was a good part of last night's Dynamite, where you were able to eventually you ended up when you'd get the full arena scans, from the crane, and that. Those are always nice. We often say, and me, first, or maybe not first, but, along with everyone else, I guess, saying that, the smaller venues are cool, and that's an extremely good business opportunity that they're taking to run these smaller venues, and they look good on TV. But, also nothing kind of beats a full big time arena. Well, big time, as big time as the Oval can be, but a full big arena where you get these big panning shots like that. See, it changes the complexion of your show. It changes the complexion of how of its perception of how big it looks. Don't get me wrong. The Aragon Ballroom was terrific, right? That was tremendous. We're going to be running the ECW arena not too long, right? Next week, if I'm not mistaken, they're starting. Those will probably be really cool shots as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, and I think it's the best thing for AEW to do in the current circumstances. But nothing beats a big full arena. Am I right? Am I right? God damn, I'm right. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Bryan Danielson comes out with the music and everything to get people really excited. He's joining commentary because Taz did not make the trip. And I enjoyed Danielson on commentary. You know, he was able to fill in the Taz spot, you know, of being the wrestler, the guy who can bring like the technical aspects of what we're watching, except in this, when Danielson is there, you hear the term Juji Gatami much less than usual. But nonetheless, he was able to fill that up quite well. We see the Hangman arriving to the building earlier in the day. And then Will Ospreay comes out. We see Hangman Adam Page arriving to the show. You know what? Yeah, here's the thing. I think we're going to get this out of the way straight away. Okay? You know, it's clearly the lead. It's the biggest talking point of the entire show. So I think I'm just going to get it out of the way and then we'll run through the rest of the show. But this is the thing, right? The whole MJF Hangman Page match, which is now turned into from a straight up singles match into a match with 3 stipulations. First of all, the title can change on a disqualification. The title can change via countout, and MJF retains his cash-in contract. He hangs on to the metal clipboard for weeks to come. Now, there are multiple reasons to really dislike this. Multiple. And I'm sure whatever reason you're using to dislike this is absolutely valid. It's funny, right? Because I have not seen a single person say, you know what, this is pretty good. I think I feel like there's a universal acceptance here that this fucking stinks. That this is not good. I'm going to give you my reasons as to why I think this stinks. And look, if you listen to my stuff here, you know out the gate that keeping this cash in, you know, execute your contract bullshit alive is infinitely frustrating and stupid. I'm not going to reiterate the points that I've been reiterating for, particularly over the past few weeks, in regards to how stupid cash-in contracts are and how I wish AEW didn't do them, because they are a WWE thing, and let them have their thing. Let them have their stupid gimmick that their fans will cheer for, you know, unconditionally, despite the fact that the wrestlers in the ring might be having the greatest match of all time. If there's a cash-in, we'll forget about the match, and then everyone goes cuckoo bonkers. Let them have it. We don't want it. So the fact that it's still around is extremely frustrating. But I think what bugs me the most is how much of a hard pivot we did on a tremendous story that was being told to establish Hangman in this new, I don't want to say persona, but this new attitude that he has, where he's no longer, you know, full of doubt, you know, full of crippling doubt. He's confident. He's coming up to MJF and he's like, no, you're not going to sucker me into doing this. You know, over the past few weeks, we've talked about it. How Hangman put his foot down and said, no, Max, you're not going to you're not going to goad me into giving you a match. You have to earn it, or you sign your contract. And for all the past few weeks, Max has been trying to get at Hangman, and eventually it is Hangman that gets the upper hand. And that was a good thing. I've championed that because it shows evolution in the Hangman character, and it shows that we're ready to move with this guy. He feels like, we're moving on with this guy who is our top guy and who's acting like a top guy. I was super excited about it. They even had the poster come out, with a callback to, what was it, the Full Gear match? I don't remember, where, you have MJF's head with the Hangman inside it, right? To express, that Hangman is in MJF's head. It was the opposite on that one poster. I can't remember for which show, but it was the opposite, where it was Hangman's head with MJF in it. Now they did the reverse. So I thought that was really clever. And I'm like, okay, we're into it. We're doing this story. And now we're flipping all of it around and we're creating these weird ass stipulations for no reason. Plus, we're making Hangman Page look like a chump again, when he could have continued on this streak of owning Max right into Forbidden Door, where he would beat him. But no, last night we saw the whole shtick with MJF going up to see Ricochet and the Gates of Agony to kidnap Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, who, by the way, said, "Max, I'm coming after you and I'm going to kill you." I'm like, what? Wasn't it just a couple of weeks ago he was upset at the idea, he was conflicted at the idea of having to kill MJF, because he was afraid he wouldn't get into heaven and go hang out with his brother? Wasn't that the thing? Now Mark Briscoe felt completely okay with it. Anyway, it's a minute gripe, but nonetheless, Max recruits Ricochet and his boys, and they kidnap Mark Briscoe, and he has gasoline there, where he's, and I understand what he's doing, where he's saying, look, Hangman, and, you like to set things on fire and your fans forgive you. Let's see what happens if if you let me set Mark Briscoe on fire, will your fans forgive you, right? So he has the gas can, and he's pouring gasoline on Mark Briscoe to do this, and he's got the Zippo lighter and everything. And that's where he establishes his ultimatum, where it's like, you have to answer within 5 seconds. You have to accept my stipulations or Mark Briscoe gets set on fire. And Hangman, capitulates, because of course, what is he going to do? Is he going to run backstage and Mark Briscoe is going to be set on fire? Would MJF even do that? You know what? It would have been interesting. You know what? So many things would have been so much more interesting than this. MJF tries this play, right? He goes, right? He tries this ploy, this ploy. And Hangman calls his bluff. And Hangman says, all right, do it. Do it. I don't think you have the guts because you're a coward. The story we've been telling for weeks, ever since the Hangman restarted this feud with MJF after All In, was MJF is a coward. And he's been believing it. Why would he suddenly believe that MJF would have the guts to set a man on fire when he doesn't even have the guts to sign a contract to try and sucker a guy into giving him a match? That's the whole MJF persona. Wouldn't that have been much more interesting? Wouldn't that have continued to establish Hangman as a guy who you just can't fuck with him anymore because he sees through all of this bullshit? No, suddenly Hangman is like, okay, no, you're right. I'm so sorry, Mr. Maxwell, Jacob Friedman. Here, I accept all of your terms. Just do not set my friend on fire. This is such bullshit. It's such bullshit. It's so over the top. That's the thing, is that MJF's reaction here is so instantaneously over the top that Hangman would have been 100% correct to call his bluff. And then what happens after? Then we get to the pay-per-view match and Hangman beats him. So this whole story here continues to establish the fact that Hangman is the top guy. Look, one thing you cannot take away from AEW here in this circumstance is that they're not giving They're not giving the Hangman, one of these easy breezy, predictable wins against, an upper mid card guy. You know what I'm talking about? Like, let's say if they had thrown, like Ricochet, right, as the first challenger, you're like, there's no fucking way Ricochet's winning the match. It'll be a fun match, but there's no way he's winning, right? Now they're doing it because it's still a situation where there's no way the Hangman's losing this match, right? But they're doing it with MJF, a top guy. So what is the story you're telling here? You're telling the story that MJF is a coward. You're telling the story that Hangman is, confident and on top of his game. So he's got MJF figured out, and he beats him at Forbidden Door, and we move along, right? Then it's like then we go. So then the next time that MJF rolls around, MJF is ready. Maybe this is what forces MJF to change. But no. There's nothing original or interesting. Like, this is a swerve for a swerve's sake. Where it's like, suddenly we're making a hard left on this one here. We had a nice little singles match set up. Why does it have to be chock full of stipulation? Why couldn't we have just had, for Hangman's first pay-per-view defense against a top guy like MJF, why couldn't we have had just a straight up singles, one-on-one, no stipulation match? No fucking nonsense. It's terrible. I said it last week, and I'm going to bring it back again this week. Okay? I think right now AEW is not being booked with as much care as it was leading into All In. The months that led us, not the couple of weeks before the show, the months from the Owen to All In Texas. Everything was booked with such care. Now doesn't feel like it is. Now kind of feels like we're falling back into old trappings, into old little problematic situations here where old reflexes coming back, and this isn't it, brother. Like, this is not it. And again, I'm bringing forth something that Tony Khan told us earlier this year, I think, or late last year, where he basically outright said, during the football season, the NFL season, just to be clear about what football sport I'm talking about, during the NFL season, he's much less hands-on. And then when the season is over, he becomes much more hands-on. And last fall was not great. And coincidentally, all the booking with care started to happen once the NFL season was done, ergo, when Tony was back. And he even alluded to that himself. I know we're not, the NFL has not started officially, but, I'm sure that these are the weeks that the teams are, I guess, they're starting to prep. Look, whatever it is they do at this time of year, is this it? Or are we just going through another rough patch with Forbidden Door booking, which has been the case for the past, ever? Like, Forbidden Door has always been a mess when it comes to booking. So are we just, in that groove again? Is that what's happening here? It shouldn't, though. Maybe in the past couple of years, maybe Forbidden Door was a bit more of a mess because you had to coordinate with New Japan. And, that's a whole other set of golf clubs right there. So maybe it made things a little more difficult because you were working with your partner. But this year, there are so many AEW matches on the card, it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be this all over the place. I swear to God, I'm going to tell you, I am not into what's going on, and I am not into this story. I'm not into this swerve that they decided to pull on us regarding the match, giving everything back to MJF. Hangman looking like a... Look, I wouldn't say looking like a schmuck again, because he did it to stick up for his friend, and I can understand that. But the confident, cocksure Hangman that we saw over the past couple of weeks should have smelt the bullshit and call MJF out on his bluff instead of capitulating, essentially. That is all of this. Terrible storytelling. I don't know what Max thinks he benefits. I don't know what he thinks he gets out of this, aside just creating frustration. This is not the good kind of heat. It's not the good kind of heat. This is the kind of heat that gives reason to the people who, emotionally dislike Max, who have these, who have very irrationally dislike Max, right? This is the kind of thing that's just giving them fodder, and whereas most of the time I will sit here and say, man, these people are overreacting. Of course they've decided that MJF is bad, so everything he does is bad. There's no defending this. This stinks. This absolutely stinks. And this is this is 100% an MJF idea. You could see it from a mile away that it's one of his ideas. I don't know why we felt it was necessary to do this, but most importantly, I don't understand why we felt like we should do this to Hangman. Why we need to make the Hangman not suddenly as cool as he was. Now he still has to be a bit of a geek. And I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Plus, we still have a fucking cash-in to deal with for however long, and it is already fucking annoying. It's the worst thing. Anyway, it's not good. I don't know what else to say. In as it pertains to this particular this twist to the angle, a build which I thought up until this point was so good. I thought it was really good. A good build, solid. And you heard me week after week. I was applauding, cheering on the direction that they were going with Hangman. I thought it was so good. Now it's just Hangman being a chump. Hangman falling for it. Why? He was completely on top of things. What about the poster? Isn't he supposed to be in MJF's head? Nah. Will Ospreay comes to the ring for his face-to-face with Jon Moxley, and he cuts a promo about his health. And listen, he is setting us up for some bad news. That he was softening the blow for some really bad news that he's going to have to announce probably after Forbidden Door. He wants to honor his commitment, but the stuff that he was talking about, how, I've got something big coming up. This is the worst year of my life. I may not have to wrestle. I may not be able to wrestle like Will Ospreay again, etc., etc. There's rumors going around that he will be having neck surgery after Forbidden Door. If that is the case, Will is out for a long, long time. After that, Will is going to be gone for a while. And yes, the sad part is that the aerial assassin, as we know him, just might not be there anymore. We might have to learn to live with another Will Ospreay. If this is all true, right? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But you can tell when like Will is just one of these guys that is very hard on sleeve when he cuts his promos. And he didn't outright say it because he didn't want to jinx anything. He didn't want to, clearly he didn't want to give it anything up for the Forbidden Door match this weekend. But he's clearly prepping us, mentally getting us ready, softening the blow. Didn't outright say, I'm going to need surgery, but holy cow, we are so very close. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone for a long, long time. And look, I don't want to get into it just yet. We'll wait till it happens. But holy shit, if Will Ospreay is gone for like a year plus, that is a tremendous blow. And a tremendous blow to AEW in general, in an environment where all of where you've got top superstars. I don't want to say all of them, but top guys like Will and Kenny Omega who are banged up and basically show up and can't do much because look, if they're gone, is what I'm trying to say. It's getting a little rough on the star power, right? Thankfully, this isn't New Japan Pro Wrestling though, but hey, we'll talk about this when we do finally have to cross that bridge. Anyway, puts over the unsanctioned match. All of his wording, right, where he's saying, AEW didn't clear me, but we said this was unsanctioned. I mean, it's a little kayfabe, right? But nonetheless, it's unsanctioned. So anything that happens removes them from responsibility. Of course, we all know it's kayfabe, like I said. But all of these little elements, all these little breadcrumbs here, he's establishing that there's something big that's unfortunately coming his way. Then Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Marina Shafir show up. And they sort of surround Will. This was supposed to be a one-on-one. Didn't turn out that way. Before they can get physical with Will, Jet Speed show up out of nowhere. And they start getting beat down by the Death Riders. And then Hiroshi Tanahashi came in to help even out the odds. Because Will took a powder. Right? First of all, Will hit the bricks when Tanahashi showed up. By the way, they had Tanahashi run. They made him run. Don't do that. Not to 2025 Hiroshi Tanahashi. That was embarrassing. That was hard to look at. That wasn't good. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. But when he did show up, even when the Jet Speed showed up, Ospreay hit the bricks. Like he just completely disappeared. And throughout all of these opening segment shenanigans, Ospreay was, I don't think he did anything physical outside of the super kicks. He didn't do anything physical, right? All I'm saying is that the signs are there, right? Anyway, that leads us into the match that we were supposed to get, and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jet Speed defeat the Death Riders. Good little action-packed match where Marina Shafir got ejected mid-match, and Will Ospreay came up to carry her off. The Bullet Club War Dogs interfere. We've got Gabe Kidd, who showed up flanked by Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney. Will Ospreay then shows back up again at the top of the ramp with a body bag. There's someone in the body bag, and everyone is saying, oh, Marina. But that was the tell. We all know, in fact, it will be Darby Allin in the body bag. And Tanahashi hits the high fly flow on Wheeler Yuta for the win. And that leads us to the post-match chaos. And I don't know if this is good chaos. Okay, the Death Riders and the War Dogs gang up on Tanahashi and Jet Speed. Then the Young Bucks. See, Will didn't even run down to help the other guys who were getting beat up, outnumbered. That should also be a sign for you, right? So the Bucks attack Ospreay. Then Paragon show up, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong to take out the Bucks. Okay. And then the Ops show up to even the odds. And I'm like, okay. And then the body bag finally opens up and it's Darby that's inside, and Darby attacks Moxley, and they go into the audience, right into the crowd, and Darby does a coffin drop off the balcony, who no one caught. I want to say no one, but they didn't do a very good job catching him, and Darby did not look good after that. Darby did not look good. Look, this fucking cage match that we're going to get at Forbidden Door, Tanahashi's, beat down, like the baby faces, right? Tanahashi's beat down to fuck. Will clearly is avoiding any type of physical stuff, so he's not going to be doing crazy ass shit. Kenny's banged up. Darby just might be hurt after this. Then Kota Ibushi, Kota's fine, I guess, right? The heels are all fine. The baby faces are all, all their bones are crushed to dust. They've all got shit twisted in their necks. Their intestines are missing. Whatever the fuck. This fucking match. I don't know what to expect from it anymore. It's a weird one. Just like all of this was weird. Like, why did the Ops run out? Like, I love the chaos. I love the chaos in AEW, but sometimes, like in this circumstance here, it just doesn't make sense. Larry, I'm like, why are the Ops out here? Oh, they're taking out the Death Riders. Not the Death Riders, excuse me, the War Dogs. Oh, they're taking out the War Dogs so that this will probably set up a match at the pre-show for Forbidden Door, right? The Ops versus the War Dogs. That could be a thing. Robbie X was there too. I forgot to mention Robbie X. So you see, you've got Clark, you've got Maloney, you've got Robbie X. Those are three guys against the Ops. So there you go. But I mean, what a weird way to set up that match in an angle that doesn't concern the Ops, and doing this in a post-match brawl where two of the guys who were involved in the match, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, didn't even show up. Omega and Ibushi weren't even there for the angle. Are they even in this match? Are we sure? They haven't even cut a promo. We haven't seen jack shit. Are we sure they're in the match? I don't know. I'm told they're in the match. There's a graphic that exists for the match. But what if they don't show up? Like, you could fool me at this point, telling me that the Golden Lovers are in this match. You could fool me. Could have fooled me. Could have fooled me. I don't know. I didn't care for it. I don't think it built the right things. I think Will coming out and cutting his promo the way, like, I enjoyed his bit about Glasgow and the sausage rolls. That was nice. That was fun. That's pure Will, right? The rest, where he's sort of softening the blow, I'm like, this is a weird vibe to start off the show. Plus, it didn't need to start the fucking show. I swear to God, if Darby Allin is hurt, I swear to fucking God, if Darby Allin is hurt, anywho, get a video package hyping up Page versus MJF. Then Adam Copeland and Christian Cage reunite in the ring. Christian, ends up admitting that, okay, we're not in the same page, but we're in the same book. And he agrees to team up against FTR to help him out, since he's helping out with his troubles with Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. Haha, swerve! Nick Wayne is injured. He broke his foot, so he's not going to be at Forbidden Door. Look, it wouldn't be Forbidden Door if, a bunch of announced matches were being thrown aside because of injuries. The great Forbidden Door tradition continues. And Mother Wayne show up. Hi, how you doing? And and Nick Wayne announces, via a pre-tape that he's not going to be at Forbidden Door, which sucks tremendously. Look, I talked about it last week. Just the fact that they are rushing through Christian Cage's issues with Nick Wayne to get to the FTR thing stinks, because it's robbing Nick Wayne of a big time feud, probably like a feud that could help him be a breakout star, right? Like have his big moment and get on that, change tracks and get on that next level. But that's not going to happen. But doubly now because he's hurt. So we're all rushing through this and there's no point to it. Anyway, Luchasaurus, Kill Switch shows up. I guess he's back to being Luchasaurus. They have a little video of him being injected with all sorts of stuff in a makeshift backroom, medical, ER type thing. Why am I lacking words to describe this thing? And people are convinced that the person who was administrating the juice and whatnot to Luchasaurus was Luke Perry, not Luke Perry, Jack Perry. Christ, if it was Luke Perry, that'd be newsworthy. But it was Jack Perry. So people are thinking that maybe we're gonna get a reunification of the Jurassic Express. We'll see about that. But as it stands right now, Luchasaurus returned and he attacked Cope. And after hesitating, he attacked Christian Cage, chokeslamming them both. Big reaction for Luchasaurus, and good for him. Honestly, you want to talk about, you want to look for bright points on the show. That's one right there. Guy had double pneumonia. Guy was in fucking serious, had fucking serious health issues, and he comes back and he looks great. He looks ripped. Good for him. Good for him for getting back into shape and finding his way back on television. Fantastic. That is actually really good. This is the bit where we get Mark Briscoe calling out MJF, promising to kill him, and then followed by MJF running into Ricochet and the GOA. That leads us to the finals of the AEW World Tag Team Championship Contenders Tournament, number one Contenders Tournament, where Brodito and FTR go to a 30-minute draw, and I was extremely irate, and I am still very, very irate at this. The match, I liked the match, and I feel I should have liked it better. I felt like it was missing a spark. I feel like it was missing something. And it's weird. Was it the crowd? I didn't think the Glasgow crowd was all that great. Personally, I didn't think it was all that good. I don't know if it didn't come across well on TV or whatnot. But, for such a large crowd, they were sitting on their hands quite a bit. I thought FTR, look, I think FTR is doing fantastic work. I think they've been at their best since joining AEW. Period. Brodito, I think they have been a delightful revelation as a tag team. I think they're, I think as far as a makeshift tag team goes, they're terrific. The match was good, and Brody King bleeds, and we're doing all sorts of great stuff, and FTR are working so well as heels. They're doing such great work, and it's not resonating with me. Is it, am I already annoyed by some of the things that have already happened on the show, and it's poisoning me a little bit? Maybe. Am I glad that these guys got 30 minutes on TV? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. But when they called the 25-minute time, the 25 minutes of a lapse, I'm like, oh, motherfucker, because they never do it. If they did it every match like New Japan does, then, you wouldn't pay as much attention to it. It wouldn't be such a tell that they're going to do the draw if they did it every match, but they don't. So when they do call the 25 minutes, I groan audibly. They're like, motherfucker, they're going to go to the time limit, and then they're going to turn the tag team title match into a 3-way. So much for this great championship tournament where we're supposed to get one winner. This fucking sucks. This sucks. Like, this is the kind of thing that AEW was so good at. Just like running a tournament, like running tournaments and doing things and sticking to their guns and not giving us a swerve. Oh, here's another swerve here tonight. Well, that would be the first because we didn't get the other one yet. Swerve. There's no winner of the tournament. There's 2 teams advancing. It sucks. It's against the idea of a tournament. That's where you should have the sudden death. Then it starts making sense. Where you're like, oh, well, we have to have sudden death overtime or whatever the fuck. But don't you know why they're doing this? You know why you're doing... I'll tell you why they're doing this. If you haven't figured it out already. But you probably have. Because you are the A+ audience to this D-List podcast. They're doing this because the Hurt Business don't want to be pinned to lose their titles. Or, look, I say the Hurt Business don't want, but someone backstage is in agreement with this and is like, they should not be pinned. So they're throwing in Brodito so that the Ring of Honor World Champion instead can take the pin. Upside down, topsy-turvy land. Because clearly they want to get the titles off of the Hurt Business. I don't know if you've noticed, the Hurt Business have been a little downcycled as far as their presence on AEW TV for the past couple of weeks. I wonder why. The presence has been downcycled. So they're going to take the titles off of them. They're going to put them on FTR because this this Cope and Christian match that is inevitably going to happen against FTR in Toronto at All Out absolutely needs the titles for some reason. Yuck. All of this. Yuck. Yuck. All of it. Another 3-way for the tag team titles. Great. Fantastic job. What a swerve. Oh my gosh, I'm so swerved. Anyway, Lashley and Benjamin showed up. They were there and, to stare down the challengers. It doesn't matter. We get a hype video for Swerve Strickland versus Kazuchika Okada. Why is it so hard to build feuds for Kazuchika Okada? I feel like it's Okada. He has great matches still. He still has them in them. But why are the builds always so complicated? Why is it so not complicated? Why is it so hard to build a match for Okada and make it exciting? Like this one's going to happen. I'm looking forward to it. Swerve versus Okada. I'm very much looking forward to it. But this one has no juice, and it should have juice. But it has no juice. Why is it so hard? And it's not the first time that we have Okada builds that have no juice. All we're doing tonight is a video package. That's all we're doing. Then the Hangman MJF stuff happens, which leads us to the main event, where Athena and Mercedes Moné defeat Toni Storm and Alex Windsor. This was good. It was a good match. It was a good final. It was a good final match. Look, Alex Windsor continues to impress. I think I've talked a lot about her work over the past couple of weeks, and I think she's going to win the crowd over with how good of a worker she is, because she puts in maximum effort in everything she does, and she's good. And quite frankly, the Athena Toni Storm match I think this has been the best built feud of the best built match leading into Forbidden Door. Up until last night, we could have argued Hangman and MJF, but not anymore. Not no more. Athena and Storm, though, I think it's been great. They've been doing fantastic work. I am looking forward to this match. I've been looking forward to it just because of the two women who are two great wrestlers. But on top of that, they've been doing they've been doing a tremendous job putting everything together, which I'm very much looking forward to. Kind of weird that Alex Windsor took the pin here. Then again, I don't know who else could have, but it's not Mercedes who pinned her. And you saw within this match as well, they're continuing to sow the seeds of Tony and Mercedes, that it's not over yet. And that's really cool too. So they're continuing to do all this this great stuff with the ladies, continuing to establish these stories. Look, I'm into it. I thought, I thought this was a good main event. Didn't knock my socks off, but a good little match. You can't say this was bad. A good little match to wrap everything up. That makes the finish to this match the best tie-in I think we got to Forbidden Door. I think the rest of the show was kind of not good, kind of confusing, kind of ineffective, but this was very good. Persephone from CMLL is in the audience. Mercedes goes up to and shoves her belt in her face, and Persephone just shoves her to the ground, to the floor, which is great. Oh, I said Athena won, right? She got the win with the O face on Alex Windsor. I didn't know why I was blanking out. She hit a pile driver on Toni Storm on some metal stairs. And after the match, officials were looking after Toni Storm to make sure she was okay. So, and she was still selling the neck as tape machines were rolling. So I don't know if that's going to come into play at the pay-per-view. We'll see. But circling back around, so Persephone was there, and it was announced that the fourth person in the four-way match for the TBS Championship at Forbidden Door, the Stardom representative, was going to be none other than Bozilla. Now, if you are not familiar with Bozilla, you're in for a treat. You're in for a good time at Forbidden Door. Look, it's weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird because Bozilla has been in Stardom for a cup of coffee. She was in Marigold, and she defected. She left Marigold, joined Stardom. What, in February? Was it February or March? Like, not that long before. No. It was just before it was a couple of months before it was late spring, come to think of it, right? Yeah. I don't quite remember. Why am I doing this? It's fine. She joined Stardom 4 or 5 months into the year, and now she's going to represent Stardom and at Forbidden Door, and I think some people are finding it a little weird, and I understand. Why not send out one of the stalwarts, one of the people? Why not Azumi? Azumi is a known fixture, right? I'm pretty sure the plan was for Shuri before she had to go get surgery as well, right? I'm sure, because Shuri had taken the summer off to not do the 5-star, and I'm convinced that was the plan. But she's not there anymore. She's not going to be wrestling. She's going under the knife. So, look, it's Forbidden Door season. What do you want from me? Matches, you bring in people. Matches that were supposed to happen don't happen because people get injured. It's forbidden. It's the curse. It'll never end. It will always be there. So, Bozilla, get into it. I'm very excited to see how this is going to go. So there you go. That's the review of a show that I particularly didn't care for. I think AEW has gone in some very weird directions and are making some extremely strange decisions. There is not, I think the key here is to say, if there was ever a theme to give to my overall thoughts, is that the booking doesn't seem to be done with as much care anymore. I really do feel it. You've got that vibe going on right now. I could be completely full of shit, but I don't think I am. Not on this, not on that level anyway. But listen, I will be watching Forbidden Door this weekend, and I will be reviewing Forbidden Door. It will be on next week's Mr. Warren Hayes Show next Wednesday. If you are a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, then you will be getting the Forbidden Door review before everyone else. I will be giving early access to the review for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel on YouTube. So join, subscribe, and become a member to be able to benefit from getting the Forbidden Door review before everyone else. Otherwise, that's it. I'll be back Wednesday to do that. Streaming tonight if you're listening to this on Thursday. And back in the whole routine. So thank you very much for listening to all of this. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Go watch some Randy Orton and get back to me. And I will see you next time.